Hey there and welcome. Sound. I mean, it is literally everywhere. We use it to talk, to listen to our favorite songs, to hear a car coming. But have you ever really stopped and wondered, what is it? What is sound actually? Well, it's this everyday mystery that we are about to completely unravel.
All right, first up, let's pull back the curtain and really get to the heart of it. What is this invisible force that's all around us? So let's just ask the big question right out of the gate. What in the world is this thing we call sound?
The simplest way to put it is this: sound is energy. You know, we're all familiar with other kinds of energy, right? Like heat or light or the electricity powering whatever you're using to listen to this. Well, sound is part of that same family. It's just an invisible force that can move things and, well, make things happen.
Okay, so if sound is energy, the next logical question is, where does it come from? How is it created? The secret ingredient, and I mean for every single sound you've ever heard, is vibration. That's it. It's just something, anything, moving back and forth really, really fast. I mean, think about it for a second. If you pluck a rubber band, what happens? You see it wiggle back and forth, vibrating, and you hear that little twang. Or, if you tap a bell or even a metal plate, you can feel it humming in your hand as it rings out. That vibration is the sound being born. Now, here's a really cool one you can do right now. Go on, just put your fingers on your throat and say anything. You feel that little buzz? That's your vocal cords vibrating to make the sound of your voice. You're basically a walking, talking sound machine. And this exact same principle is how all music works. Instruments are just different tools for making vibrations. On a vina or a guitar, it's the stretched string doing the work. For a tabla or any drum, it's the stretched membrane on top. And for an instrument like a flute, it's not even a solid part. It's the column of air inside that's vibrating. All right, so we've made a vibration and a sound now exists. But how does that sound get from the source, like a drum, all the way across the room to our ears? What's that journey look like? Well, it needs a delivery service. See, sound can't just travel through empty space. It needs something to travel through, what scientists call a medium. This can be a solid, a liquid, or a gas. The little particles of that medium act like a chain of delivery boys, passing the sound energy along from one to the next. And this, by the way, is why all those epic, fiery explosions you see in sci-fi movies are, well, famously wrong. In the vacuum of space, there's no medium. No air, no particles, nothing. So no matter how gigantic the explosion, there's literally nothing to carry the sound to you. It would be completely, totally silent. And what's interesting is that this delivery service has different speeds. Sound travels fastest through solids, like steel, because the particles are packed super tightly together. It's really easy for them to pass that energy along. It's a bit slower in liquids like water, and it's slowest of all in gases like air, just because the particles are so much more spread out. So the sound has been born, it's traveled through a medium, and it's finally reached our ears. But how does that jiggle of air get turned into something our brain actually understands, like words or music? Well, this is where the biology gets really cool. It's this incredible little four-step process. First, the sound waves travel into your ear and make your eardrum vibrate. It's like a tiny drum skin. Then, those tiny vibrations get passed along and amplified into the inner ear. From there, special little cells turn those vibrations into electrical signals. And finally, those signals shoot up to your brain, which says, "Aha, that's my favorite song," or "Oh, that's a car horn." But how does your brain know if a sound is loud or soft? That all comes down to something called amplitude. You can think of it like the size or the power of the sound wave. A really loud sound has a huge amplitude, like a giant ocean wave crashing down. A soft, quiet sound has a tiny amplitude, more like a gentle ripple in a pond. Pitch, on the other hand, is all about frequency. This is just how fast the vibration is happening. A really high-frequency vibration, tons of back and forths every second, gives you a high-pitched sound, like a whistle. A low-frequency vibration with way fewer wiggles per second gives you a deep, low-pitched sound, like a big bass drum. So, now that we have these two basic tools, amplitude for loudness and frequency for pitch, we can start to make sense of the whole world of sound around us, from beautiful music to annoying noise and even sounds we can't hear at all. So what's the actual scientific difference between music and noise? You might be surprised by the answer. There really isn't one. It's completely subjective. It's all in our heads. What one person finds beautiful, another person might find to be a total racket. But Generally, we tend to think of music as sound that's organized and pleasant, while noise is just random, disorganized, and jarring.
But unpleasant is one thing. When does noise cross the line from just being annoying to being actually dangerous for our health? That line is usually drawn right around 80 decibels. If you're constantly exposed to sounds louder than that, think heavy traffic or loud machinery, it's not just irritating, it can be physically harmful. Why? Because our brains are wired to interpret sustained loud noise as a threat, which triggers a stress response. Over time, that can lead to some really serious health problems like high blood pressure and even lack of sleep. Now, maybe the most mind-bending idea of all is that the world of sound that we humans can hear is just a tiny, tiny slice of what's really out there. There are whole worlds of sound happening all around us that are completely silent to us. Below our hearing range, there's infrasound, and above it, there's ultrasound. That's the range dogs can hear, and it's what we've harnessed for medical tech like sonograms. So I guess that just leaves us with one final thought to chew on. We've explored the amazing science of the sound we know, but our senses are pretty limited. What would the world be like if we could actually hear it all? What if we could hear the super high-pitched calls of a bat or the deep, rumbling songs of a whale from miles away? What secret conversations are happening all around us in a language of vibration we just aren't built to understand?